Hi there, welcome to lesson 9, and in this one we're going to finish this cross section. So very first thing to do is to just replicate that, although that's looking a little, we want that to sit below the line work. Have we got hatches? Yeah, there we go. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it has. You can see now that that line work's coming through. Good. We could probably even just copy that over. Although before I do, we've got glazing there. So really what we want to do is, what's that line, elevation line work? Let's beef that up. What's the stroke? 0.7. That's better. Okay. Just so it's abundantly obvious. And then we want to take that across like so. Right. And then we want to edit that. So that goes up there. That pushes up there. Done. Then we want this to be more of like a 0.2, maybe even less than that. This is going to be in elevation now, essentially. Those two lines. What was that? 0.18. Set that to a 0.18. That's more like it. Let's just get that hex code. We can probably just do a rectangle. Add fill, insert the hex code, and then remove the stroke, set it to hatches, and there we are. And then for our glazing, I wonder whether, let's edit this. Have we got, yeah, we have a side view, look at that. Brilliant. Does it let me drag and drop it? Let's cut that. Paste it here. Oh. Feels a bit chunky. Let's just scale that in a touch. Brilliant though. And this, by the way, is the bulk of this lesson. It's finding these assets that are in elevation. Like so. Okay. So we've got that loaded in. Now, I did notice here that the furniture is all a little bit transparent. I think I must have tinkered with this solid elsewhere. So let's just get all that back in, right? And then the key is, if we go here, have we got a side view? Brilliant. So it's then, oh. Oh, I see. it's got rid of, right, I didn't spot that first time round. So it's got rid of the existing one and changed it for that. So what we need to do is grab these bits of furniture. Let's copy them down like that and then cut, paste. And that's where they are sat on the section. Now, you don't need to be too precise with this. No one's building off an elevated bit of furniture, but there's no harm in it. Let's just do 0, there we go. But there's no harm in it being in the right place. Look at that. Yeah, so that's side on like so. I love that the rotation is like it's like a global rotation. So you just hit 0 and it's in for us. So then we can drop that there, and then same with that. Love it. And we'll just push that. So arrange center back, and then there's another one next to it. So we'll just copy that over there. But like, look at that now. That already looks better. What's our headroom there? 2.5, that's fine. And then there is someone sat on that second chair. So if we then go block, and then if we just do like sitting, is there anyone? So in library, that was referring to blocks that I've already imported. So if I just drag that here, will it give me the option? Oh, look at that. Brilliant. Let's not complicate things. Let's just move it away from the piano a touch. But then look at that. What about over here? So we've got that sofa there. There is a wall as well. So we want to elevate that wall there. Okay. And then double click, jump in there, grab those two, and then bring them down. Cut, paste, and then change to that one. Okay, then to disguise that, what we want to do really then is pop a little rectangle in and give it a fill of white with no stroke. It's got a little bit of a grey actually to it. It's not pure white, but I do quite like it. And again, it feels a little bit bare, so if we just then type in talking, let's see if there's Pearson walk. Let's just do walking then. And same again, set it to side, mirror. That'll do you. Look at that. We'll do furniture first, and then there'll be bits in the background, a little bit of like what you call it, like the doors and all that sort of stuff. Oh, have we got an option for this? Oh, that looks fantastic. Let's copy. Let's grab them all now. So that, and that. Let's drag all that down, snapping vertically like so, and then cut, paste, and then we've got that in elevation. That is absolutely brilliant. The amount of time you spend figuring that stuff out, wow. And that sits on a wall, so what you're better doing is striking a line up as well. Like so. That one might want to just go down like that. It's that one. So that was incredibly easy. What about doors? We've got just the one door there. Copy that. There we go. Now that's a little bit warped. We'll just drag that one down. Oh, it's upside down. Why is it doing that? There we go. Right, so this is locked, so we want to unlock it. And let's just set it to like 2.4. Now that's a little warped, isn't it? Edit. So it's got to be a touch manual with it. Just checking that is the right width, yeah, 1400. It's a big door, that, to be fair. But it's fine, you know, it's a high-end property. So what layer are we on here? Elevation. Imported blocks. Yeah, so we'll set it to that and then arrange to back. There we go. And then we've got these stairs here, but that looks as if it's set behind a chunky wall. We have got a bookcase there, I think, but I've just drawn that as a shape. So again, trim, select your trimming line, done. And then the bits of the lines you want to trim. Look at that. You could add a little bit of materiality to the walls. Let's just use an example here. Actually, yeah, let's get rid of, or instead of rid of that, we can extend it. Like so. Love that. Or say like that wall there, that like chunky wall, that wants to be like a concrete or something. It's all just about drawing these shapes. And then, you know, we could give it a hatch. Something like that. Did we have to transform it? forgot what we done now. Yeah, 500. Oh yeah, oh, it is there. Let's just go for something that's built in though. There we go, that's nice, like a shuttered concrete effect. And let's just put it on imported blocks just so it's easier to push it behind that furniture. Send to back. And there we go, so you can see it sits behind it. So that's a way of animating. If I just set that to like 50%, maybe even lower than that. It's a way of just animating the section a little bit, and that's the key. The key is adding stuff in the backdrop. Otherwise, you'll end up with a very, very plain drawing indeed. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can just put a bit of artwork or something on there, or like a bookshelf or something. Is that an elevation? No, top. Yeah, there we go. Import blocks, arrange, center back, and then you could just, you know, pop something like that in. Maybe even scale that. And if you feel like it's a little bare, let's pop in some people. Is there anyone cooking? That'd be quite nice. Let's just do standing then. And we want to send backward. Imported blocks. Control down. No. Ah. Imported blocks. There we go. But we want that control down. Oh. Ah. So he jumps in between. Never mind. Wants him to kind of sit behind the island, but that'll do. We could add a little bit of light and shadow. Let me just... Building shadow. So we could do something like so. So it would come off the frame. This is a nice effect. But you've got to be quite ruthless with it. If it's coming from like top left, then we have to kind of commit to that throughout. And then let's just do fill like that. And then just like a 10% or something. Probably lower than that. No stroke. Even just like a 2%. There we go. And you get a little sense that there's light coming from that window. But what I find is you're basically just shading the whole thing in. So you probably need more windows really to make that work, but that's how you do it if you're interested. But personally, I think a section wants to look a little bit more technical. So I like to drop colour away and really shadows. That's where I use that more on the elevations. We can now as well bring the trees down for consistency. Again, I've mentioned this in the last lesson that we should really go back and put that step in on the elevation, but that's we're not going to learn anything new with that. Now we need to mask that out. What are we on here? Elevation trees, elevation line work. Let's just see the ordering of that. Yeah, so trees are behind line work. So if I put a rectangle around that building there, give it a white fill, like so. Elevation line work. And then arrange center back of layer. But because that layer is higher than the tree, it's sitting nicely in front of it. And I will copy that down here as well. Hatches. Oh, hatches lower than that. Maybe just put this on something higher than trees, elevation fill. There we go. Perfect. So you can see the way we've got that consistency now with the trees brought down. And really that's the crux of a good section, is what you'll always find when you're starting a section, a normal like architectural section like that, is they look a little bit flat, a little bit bland. For me, a section comes to life when you add things that are in elevation in the background. So what I mean by that are like the stairs or that wall there, bookcases, doors, things like that. There is a console there, I suppose we could add there. Let's just do a library. Is it like side table, something like that? But what I'm saying is that it's you bring the section to life by adding assets and things in elevation, in some cases shadow and so on. When you start to populate the section, that's when it really makes sense, because the thing we're looking for here is what's our ceiling height? How does it feel to be in that space? And a good way of demonstrating your design is through section. And nice designs have varying volumes. So you might go into a space and it's double height, triple height, and so on like that. And even here, there's a different sense of ceiling height there. So you feel that transition from one space to another. All that is demonstrated in a section. Let's just see if we've got a little cabinet or something that we can just bring in. Yeah, that is side. Yeah, that actually works quite well. So that goes somewhere like that. So, sorry, before I do finish, no harm in some new elevations as well. Again, only set out vertically in elevation and section. Your horizontal is in plan. So we've got soffit height there, and then we've got a soffit height there. That gives you the gist of it. There's more that can be done, obviously, but you get the idea. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And that actually concludes the drawing element. We've done site plan, floor plans, elevations, sections, all in 2 stages, the drawing work and then the kind of the rendering work. So the next lesson, the final of the core lessons, there will be a bonus, but the final of the core lessons is then how do we sheet this up? How do we present it on sheets, title blocks, element keys, and all that sort of stuff? So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.